Yes, and we are live. Yes, my beautiful people, Jamaican youth in the building yet again with another one. Yeah, we'll just get started, and hopefully people come and view soon. So we don't see anyone on here yet or in the chat, but I don't know. I saw it go. We just here for talk about the Reggae Boys draw to the Gold Cup, to the World Cup, sorry, the World Cup final draw. The final round of the World Cup qualifying draw, the CONCACAF final round draw. We're here for talk about it. And yeah, what I mean? Like we are look forward to, talking with everybody, expressing our thoughts. So let us hope that you are here with us going along. Yeah. So welcome again. There's a lot to talk about. I mean, Jamaica seem to have had a very favorable draw to the World Cup qualifying, and we're here to break it down. Because there is just we are of course all excited about the draw that we got, because trust me, I wasn't even looking for the type of draw that we get. We got a very, one could say favorable or manageable draw to go through, and it's a good look for we. At this point, if we can pull this off, we might as well pack it up, Richard. But it might not be as simple as we think it is, even though we definitely stand the best chance we have ever stand or ever stood, for qualify for the World Cup. I mean, it's just I couldn't believe it last night when I was watching the draw, just kind of seeing, that there was a lot of that the teams that were put in our group were just, teams with Jamaica, you know, I've beaten before, or I've played before, I have, gotten, I've had an easy time with in the past. And so this time around, to have such a favorable World Cup draw, is absolutely amazing. It's an amazing, amazing, amazing thing. So we're there for talk about it, and we want to, you know, kind of talk about some of the things that we want to discuss. In general, Jamaica got a favorable World Cup qualifying draw, and our group having Jamaica, Curacao, Trinidad and Tobago, and Bermuda. Can you believe that? Honestly, when I was thinking about it, I was actually saying that a good draw for Jamaica would be Jamaica, El Salvador, Trinidad, and Bermuda. I was saying that. But to get Curacao, Curacao is on the up and up, Don't get it twisted. So it's not like I'm throwing Curacao to the side and saying like, oh, that's a easy one. So we're not gonna really paying much attention to it. Curacao is an up and coming team and is going to be a challenge. But at the end of the day, we should get by Curacao. Trinidad, we have played them so much. I mean, for the last 2 or 3 years, we have been doing two games, in Jamaica, two games in Trinidad. They will play them again we played them in the last Gold Cup. I think, yeah, we played them in the last Gold Cup and dominated them. I think it was a 4-1 victory. Then we played them in the Unity Cup recently, which the team looked so good in the Unity Cup. And we saw, us winning, beating Trinidad 3-2. And then Bermuda, I mean, go kudos to them for reaching this far, but I honestly don't see them winning any of the games here. No, even though Bermuda is a easier team, and these teams technically are ranked below us, there's some reasons why I don't think we should ever take it lightly. Even though we clearly have the superior team, we cannot sit back and take it lightly. We can't take this lightly. I think we have to approach these games with the confidence that we played with against Guatemala, but with the urgency of us playing a Mexico or a USA. That's how I think our approach needs to be. We need that confidence in terms of how we played against Guatemala and even Trinidad and Tobago in the Unity Cup. We played them with some real confidence. Those games. That's the confidence we need to have, and that's but we also need to have the urgency, the tenacity, the intensity of us playing stronger teams. That's what we need. And so I want to kind of talk about a few topics today. That being the main one. I mean, I was so overjoyed yesterday, but some of the topics I want to talk about today is the fact that the Reggae Boys, will have a very manageable part to the World Cup. I want to kind of get into that a little bit. I noticed me use very manageable because a lot of people say we have to reach it now and rare, but I say manageable. I'm still a bit cautious. I think the Gold Cup will be further preparation for the World Cup final round, to just make sure that we are, putting in all of the dotting all our I's and crossing our T's. So we want to talk about that. I want to talk a little bit about the players coming in for the final round, because that is a cause for concern. The Mason Greenwoods of the world. When are those players going to actually come? Because now is the time, now is the moment. So we want to know, when are those players coming? I want to talk a little bit about a little news I hear. Richard King getting a move to St. Mirren, and I think that is great for him because Scottish Premier League, you could say it's on par with the English Championship, maybe, except with the exception of maybe Rangers and Celtics. I think those are big teams, but it's a strong league. It's a good league, and I think there were teams in England that wanted him, but he decided to say Scottish League, maybe because the game time will be more pronounced. And then we want to talk about Steve McLaren's overall improvement of the team. He has improved the team, even so much more so than Hallgrimson, who I thought was, a good coach. But I think right now I will have to say Steve McLaren has done, a better job than Hallgrimson. And then finally, I want to talk about JFF overall improvement since the YouTube era. It's easy for always criticize JFF, but when they deserve them flowers, we need to give them flowers. And I think this is one of the times that they have been doing a good job over a consistent period. You haven't heard people come on YouTube and cuss them off and all of that and say all manner of evil that they're doing. So we want to talk about that, and I want to point to some specific things that they have done that I think are good things. So as you come into the room, my ask if you hit the like button. Thank you all for being here. For those of you still on the stream, we still want to get as many eyes to the video as possible. So if you can hit the like button and help to send out the stream to more eyes, we'll definitely appreciate it. But we want to get into it. You know what I mean? We want to get into it. The Reggae Boys having a very manageable part to the World Cup, and my use of the word manageable is more from a cautious perspective. We don't want to get too overhyped and over happy that we take the teams them for granted. And I don't think Steve McLaren will allow us to do that. So that is, I don't think that is something at all have to worry about, because he's always one that respects the opponent. He always says that, even though as fans will believe, say, yo, we don't want to show them too much respect. You know what I mean? So I don't think Steve McLaren will allow us to drop into that. But we should win all home games and be looking to win all away games. So the office should become the office again. For those of you who remember the 1998 World Cup, we call the National Stadium the office, because anytime Jamaica play inside of the National Stadium and a team come through, we look on it as a win. That's a win. They're not, and are at a minimum, they're not walking away with a win. You get me? For most of those games, we won those games, or at worst, it was a draw, but we never lost. We were going for a long run for a while there without a loss, and we definitely want to return to those glory days um, in the national stadium, where when a team come to play, they know so them not gonna leave. Them know so the best that they can leave with is a draw. They know that coming right in. They're not coming in thinking, say, them can get anything more than a draw. So I think we should be looking to win all home games. And then when it come on to the away games, I'm saying we definitely need to put away Bermuda. And I mean, Trinidad is going to be tough because I know that the stadium, because it's pretty much a derby game. It's a Caribbean derby, that Jamaica, Trinidad. I'm expecting the National Stadium in Kingston for be jam-packed for when Trinidad come to Jamaica. And I'm expecting Trinidad Stadium for be jam-packed when Jamaica go to Trinidad. But overall, who is the better team? I believe Trinidad is overall, Jamaica, sorry. Jamaica is overall the better team. So we should be looking to make sure we win that home game, and the game in Trinidad, you know, we should be looking to win that as well. But that could turn out into a draw as well. You never know, because I mean, the momentum, the moment, they are at home. So, but we need to find a way to be on the front foot and put away these teams. And then Curacao might very well put Trinidad in a spot of bother, because I mean, if you look at the group, you would think, if I was wanting it, Jamaica first, Trinidad second, Curacao, and then Bermuda. But Curacao has been doing so much work on improving their squad that there's a strong possibility that they will give everybody in the group a problem, including Jamaica. You know what I mean? So if you look at some of the games that they have played recently, um they play Haiti, they smash Haiti 5-1. They play St. Lucia, 4-0 over St. Lucia, 4-1 over St. Lucia. Those games, they have been having a very good run of form, and you can never take them lightly. As a matter of fact, let's look up Curacao. Um, let's look at Curacao. Previous games. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys what that is. Curacao previous games. I'm going to come back to this in a second, but let me show you what Curacao uh, games are. Let me show you that. Share screen. See it here. Look at that. Right? If you can see it good, you notice that you have Curacao beating Haiti 5-1. That was June 10. They lost 2-0 to Kazakhstan. That's back in March. Then they give St. Lucia 4-0. And hold on there. Let me see if we can find some other results that they have. Full match schedule. So if you can go back and look at their history. 4-0 over St. Lucia. They lost 2-0 to Kazakhstan in March. I'm guessing that's a friendly international. 5-1 over Haiti. So they beat St. Lucia 4-1 here. They beat St. Martin 5-0. 1-0 over Grenada, which to me, this is back in October 2024. I think they have improved since then. And then they draw 0-0 with Grenada. Grenada is not just a strong team, so I don't know. 4-0. But look here. St. Lucia beat them 2-1 back in the Nations League. I'm trying to see when was the last time they drew 1-1 with El Salvador. They beat Trinidad in the Nations League. Look at that. 5-3. This is back in 2023. And Panama beat them at home, but was only so able to get over them in in the Nations League. I think it was just by a little bit. So you know, the Curacao is not an easy team. It's not a walkover team, right? So we have to be careful of them, even though I think we still should be able to beat them. And that is why I say you can't really take them lightly. So we said the teams in our group are beatable on paper given our rankings, but football is played on the pitch, and those teams want to qualify as well. So don't underestimate the possibility that these teams will come with venom in their bloods. You know what I mean, in their veins, because they're gonna be, this is an opportunity for them too. If you look at it from Trinidad perspective, this is a favorable group to them too. You know what I mean? This is favorable to them too. Every group, every team in our group, whether it be Trinidad, Curacao, or Bermuda, this group is probably the most favorable group to them. It just so happens that us, Jamaica, we just happen to be the highest ranked team in that group. We just happen to be the highest ranked team in the group. So, yeah, I mean, we're good. I like the group. I like the fact that we definitely might be after a good start. Then we need to start this campaign off with a win. You know what I mean? Like, ain't nothing, get your confident and upbeat like a win. You see me? Once we get that first win under our belt, we can get to build some momentum. And that is what I'm saying with the that's why the Gold Cup will be such an important thing this year, because the Gold Cup will help us to get into a rhythm. It will help us to get into a rhythm to start the World Cup qualifying segment. So, but as I hope say, we have a good tournament this year, this summer. We start our first game is on Monday. Coming today is Friday, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So in a few days time, in 3 days time, I'm guessing the team should be I'm guessing the team should be in the US now, in California now, or at least heading there to get ready for the first game on Monday. And so we need to start off the World Cup campaign with a win, but also this Gold Cup. So overall, a very favorable draw for the Reggae Boys. But we definitely need to execute and take advantage of what will likely never happen again in the near future. What are the possibilities that Jamaica will have this easier path to qualify for the World Cup? Think about it though. If you really want to nail it down, this second round with us being with us playing Guatemala, Damrep, I think it was, and BVI. It was arguably harder, because all right, BVI is on the side. Let's BVI is not on the side, but Damrep and Guatemala are probably stronger or harder teams to beat than, dare I say, Trinidad and Curacao. You know what I mean? So it's at least equal or harder this past second round that we go through. So we have to execute and take advantage of all of those opportunities, all of this opportunity that has come our way. All right, so as I say, and as you come in, just hit the like button. I see people in and out, but it's all good. The Gold Cup is further preparation for the World Cup qualifiers, right? And I'm saying that the Gold Cup will serve as a major preparation for the World Cup qualifiers, right? The World Cup qualifiers are, coming back up in September, and the Gold Cup starts this month, as I said earlier, and our first game is against Guatemala. You know what I mean? And as I was saying 2 days ago, when my previous live stream, we have a good path to at least the semi-final if we win our group. And to be honest with you, of all the teams, of all the top four teams, I don't know if I want to say Panama is probably one of our best matchups because Panama in the past have been a bogey team for us. You know what I mean? They always seem to beat us. But the last time we played Panama, which was in the Nations League, we got by them. We beat them by 1-0. That was pure organization, and that was under Haldrimson. This team today, I think, is more organized, and they are more, more clinical. They're more of an attacking team than the team that beat, Panama the last time. We have more depth because the other day I was really thinking about it. If you think about it, we actually have depth in every single position now, in Jamaica on the squad. If you look in the goalkeeping department, obviously Andre Blake is at the top of the hill, but we have Jamali Wade, who is a good replacement, and Shaquan Davis. I know some people have their feeling about Shaquan Davis, but it is what it is right now. You know what I mean? Jamali Wade and Andre Blake and Shaquan Davis. That's the goalkeeping department. There's depth there. In the right back position, you have Lembi Kisa, you have Latiba there now. I think Latiba there might be, depending on who we play against, you might see him play Latiba there more often. I think maybe with stronger teams, you might see Latiba there. I think based on instructions from the coach, Latiba there was coming in the midfield more often and maybe pulled a player with him, so it created more space down his wing for a pass from the defense to the winger. So that might have been by instruction. If you saw how Latiba there played the right back position the last time Jamaica played against Guatemala, you would have seen like a completely different approach to wing back playing as opposed to when Lembi Kisa plays. So I think maybe Lembi Kisa will play against maybe Guadeloupe, which might have a different attacking style than Guatemala. But probably you'll see a return back to Latiba there in the Panama game, So, but we do have at least Latiba there and Lembi Kisa there, and Latiba there can substitute in many different positions. In the defense, you have Mensah Holgate, Damian Lowe, Richard King, and Ethan Pinnock. You know what I mean? And some people are saying, boy, will Ethan Pinnock be able to just walk back into the squad? No. Given how Jamaica has been playing in the Unity Cup, Ethan Pinnock wasn't there, and the last World Cup qualifying games where he wasn't there either. Would you allow him to just walk back into the team? No, given how the defense have been playing. Because the defense looks organized. You know what I mean? Like, we kind of gave Hallgrim some credit for being very organized in defense, but I don't think we have been any less organized since McLaren has come on. And McLaren is a more attacking coach. Our only problem now, we have more of a problem with the midfield than the attack or defense or goalkeeping department. And I think McLaren is making a concerted effort to try and fix the midfield too. He has tried a lot of different pieces. So we have depth in defense in the person of Richard King, Damian Lowe, Mensah Holgate, and Ethan Pinnock. So that's good. And then on the left wing back position, we have Amara Bell and Greg Lee, right? So we can say defensively, we have decent players. When it comes to the defensive midfield, it's really only Isaac Hayden as a it's really only Isaac Hayden we would say is a CDM. Big up yourself, Lee, and thanks for being here. You say you disagree. We conceded a lot of goals. In what games? In what games would you say we conceded a lot of goals? Because let's go back and look at Jamaica. Let's go back and look at some of Jamaica's games. Put on the full match schedule. Because since we can do the maths, since McLaren come on, we haven't really conceded a lot of goals except the game against the US. And I'm going to pull it up, Nick, you can see it. Except the game against the US, we haven't really conceded a lot of goals. Because I can go back and tell you since the Nations League. All right, so all right, so the Nations League, Jamaica beat Panama 1-0. That's the last game Hallgrim's a coach. Then Damarep, Jamaica win that 1-0. Jamaica versus Dominica 3-2. I mean, you can say we conceded 2 goals there and against an easy Dominica team, but McLaren was still new, but he still got the job done 3-2. Jamaica lost 1-0 to Mexico in the Copa America, 3-1 to Ecuador, yes, and 3-0 to Venezuela in the Copa America. So I guess you can say those we conceded a lot of goals there, but that's the Copa America. Those are higher ranked teams than us, and McLaren is still relatively new here. So I don't really, you know what I mean? I'm not really give him, I'm not really put that too much on him yet. Then Jamaica, Cuba, 0-0, 2-1 Jamaica over Honduras, 2-0 Jamaica over Nicaragua, 0-0 with Honduras, 1-0 loss to the US, and then a 4-2 loss to the US. That I would say was a lot of goals conceded. But that was in the Nations League when we dropped out. And we beat Trinidad 1-0, draw 1-0 with Trinidad, draw 1-0 with St. Vincent, beat St. Vincent 3-0, beat Trinidad 3-2, draw with Nigeria 2-0. I wouldn't call that, the penalty don't mean anything because any number can play when you take penalty. 1-0 beating Virgin Islands and British Virgin Islands, and 3-0 we beat Guatemala. So, in some cases, yes, if you go back to the Copa America and the game against the US in the Nations League recently, yes, we conceded a lot of goals there. But I think we have improved, from since then. I think defensively, especially against a team like Nigeria, I think the defense was solid. With King and Holgate there was good defense. So I definitely believe we have some depth there. Then when you go to the midfield, as I was saying, Isaac Hayden is the only defensive midfielder there. Will probably need another one, but I think Latibeaudiere can play it as well. I don't know how much McLaren trusts him there. I personally think that Richard King would make a better CDM than Damian Lowe. I think Damian Lowe is a little bit too rash for CDM, but Damian Lowe has better recovery speed than Richard King. But Richard King has the better temperament to play the CDM role. So if he needed a CDM and was out of a wing back, right back, and Latibeaudiere had to play that right back, then I would make Latibeaudiere play it and push up King. I think King would be a better CDM if we can have Isaac Hayden. Isaac Hayden obviously is the first choice for there. And then in the midfield, we have others like Demarai Gray. I've said, Cephas taking spots. So now Demarai Gray, Bobby Reid, Casey Palmer, and John Russell. I always forget John Russell, who is actually probably our main midfielder right now. So there's some depth in the midfield role. And then in the wingers, wow, we have Cephas, we have Bailey, we have Dixon. Demarai Gray can play the wing if needs be. Bobby Reid can play the wing if needs be. So we have depth there. In the wing role, the wide areas, as we call it. And then obviously up front, we have Warner Brown, Roman Burrell, Tyrese Campbell, and even Mikel Antonio. So I think definitely in our attacking areas, in our defensive areas, we have depth. I think just in that midfield role, while we do have, I think while it's still questionable, I still think McLaren is making an effort to fix it. Which I think is good. So we should look to make a minimum of a semi-final run by winning all group games, including against Panama. I think that has to be the goal. It has to be the goal. Like, we definitely need to beat Panama. That has to be the goal. Lee said we need to lock shop going into the third round of the qualifiers because goals to make a huge. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you still, Like, I mean, me don't want to concede a lot of goals either. Me definitely want us for be, you know, more better in defense or better in the areas where we are not. You know what I mean? Um, I think we're not going to be able to play against every team like how we play against Guatemala. But then again, at the national stadium. But then again, all of those teams that are in the that are in our group, we're better than those teams. And Guatemala is probably better than all of those teams. Guatemala is probably better than every single one of those teams that's in our group. Guatemala better than should be, yeah, Guatemala better than Curacao, which probably is the highest rank one now, better than Trinidad and better than Bermuda. So if we are able to put in a dominant performance against all of those other teams, like what we put in against Guatemala, we should be good. We should be good. Definitely be good. But in terms of the Gold Cup, we definitely need to look for in all of the game. Then I think our key to a deep Gold Cup run this time around is topping this group. We have to top the group. So Mexico and Canada seems to be the strongest teams in the Gold Cup, but Jamaica and Panama have outside chances, and the USA is at home, so they will be a threat. You know what I mean? I think the USA has a weakened team, though. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure everybody have been seeing like some of the games that they've been playing, and the Pulisic is not there, and that's been a problem. And Josh Sargent is not there, Balogun is not there, Tim Weah is not there. A lot of their top players aren't there, so it definitely leaves the door open for teams like Jamaica, like Panama, to make deeper runs. Even Costa Rica too, but especially teams like Jamaica and Panama to make deeper runs. Donovan Kavanagh, thank you for being here, man. Bless up yourself. He said we need to win and score goals and don't concede a lot of goals. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. You know what I mean? We definitely need to score. I think no, we look better in front of goal too. I think no, we can actually, we're in a better position to score multiple goals than we were before. Because before is really only Boza and Mikel Antonio you could depend on to score. And if those guys aren't clicking, then and there was a time when it was just Boza and Mikel Antonio. And Mikel Antonio, he was doing a lot of grunt work, as you would say. You know what I mean? He would work and work and work, but he wasn't putting the ball in the back of the net. Boza, you could only reach him if you go over the top. He wasn't a number 9 type striker like in the way of Warner Brown. You pretty much had to reach him over the top and then hope that he could, get in good positions and clean up scraps. Kind of like Mikel Antonio. Mikel Antonio and Boza was kind of the same type of is the same type of forward. Now you have a striker like Romain Burrell and a Warner Brown. That's a different type of striker than Mikel Antonio and Boza. You see me? Mikel Antonio is still there. It will remain to be seen if the coach will use him. But I would dare venture to say Romain Burrell. I haven't seen enough of Tyrese Campbell, but Romain Burrell and Warner Brown are different types of strikers than Boza and Mikel Antonio. You know what I mean? Yeah, yes, Lee. We always struggle to score against lower ranked teams. And I don't know. I feel like that's gonna change now though. I feel like with Romain Burrell and Warner Brown, I think that's gonna change. Of course, we have a seat for no, but he is. I think those forwards will change that moving forward. So as I was saying, Mexico and Canada seem to be the strongest team in the Gold Cup, but Jamaica and Panama have outside chances. They have an outside chance of winning this Gold Cup, going all the way. We'll have to see, obviously, how Mexico handles the tournament, but more than likely they will get to the final in some way. Hopefully, we can avoid them before we get to the final, because I think they have the strongest roster of all the teams in the Gold Cup. So this is an opportunity for some players to stamp their stay in the squad, even for the World Cup qualifying campaign. So if you look at let's look at some of the players called up for the for the Gold Cup, right? Let's look at some of the players called up for the Gold Cup. We'll talk about the squad, and we will look at what players can actually stay for the World Cup qualifying. All right, let me do that. Hold on there. Let's see what players will actually stay around for the World Cup qualifying. Zimmy. All right. Just give me 1 second there. Jamaica Gold Cup squad. See it here. All right, I guess I'll use this. All right, good. So we didn't know. Jamaica Gold Cup squad. Let's just put it in. Move this out for a little bit. And okay, so here we go. Here is our Gold Cup squad, right? And I am looking to see which one of these players you think will be able to stay for the World Cup qualifying. So we expect Andre Blake, Shaquan Davis. Well, Andre Blake and Jamal Wade to definitely stay. Maybe Shaquan Davis as well. I don't see if there are any other, goalkeepers in the coach's plan at this time. But we expect Andre Blake and Jamal Wade for sure, and quite possibly Shaquan Davis. Then in the defending department, Richard King, I think for sure will be there. Damian Lowe for sure. Ethan Pinnock. Dexter Lembikisa, I'm not sure. I mean, for now, he's the only out and out right back in the team, but the coach seems not to be one to use him all the time, or not to have as much confidence in him as before, or as the previous coach. So his position could be up. Kyle Ming, because he's kind of an unknown quantity right now, his position could also be up for grabs. You know what I mean? For other players who could come in. Greg Lee, the same. I think a lot of fans are not 100% are not 100% happy with Greg Lee, so his position could be up for grabs too. Amari Bell, I think more than likely he will stay around. Mason Holgate, he will stay around. He has probably pretty much taken up Deshaun Bernard's game, and he has been doing a good job, Mason Holgate. So I think he will stay. And Joel Latibodere probably will stay. His position is actually good because he plays more than one position. So he can play in the center of defense, he can play right back, and he can play CDM. So his position, he'll likely hang around. Then midfielders, Casey Palmer, I know not a lot of fans like him right now, but I think, if no other significantly better midfielder comes in, I think he stays. Dwayne Atkinson, unknown quantity, so that position is up for grabs for sure. Jonathan Russell, I mean, on farm right now, so I think he stays. He has been doing really well. So he stays. Bobby Reid has been a mainstay in the team for the longest while, so I think he stays too. And definitely Isaac Hayden. He's the only out and out, CDM in the team and has been doing a good job at it too. So definitely, they stay, or he stays. So far we could say Kyle Ming, or Dexter Lembikisa, Kyle Ming, and Greg Lee, to a lesser extent, I would say. Though those positions are up for grabs, you could add Shaquan Davis to that. For here, I would say Dwayne Atkinson for sure, because we just haven't seen enough of him on the national stage, and that's about it here. I think everybody else is kind of good here. And then the forwards, for now, Warner Brown looks like a mainstay for me. I think Roman Barella has come and stamped his position in it. Kaim Dixon, I can't say he's of a sure player as yet. I think he's going to need to do more to be a mainstay in the squad. But he has a chance. Tyrese Campbell definitely needs more game time to show what he's capable of. Mikel Antonio, I don't think he stays because he's just not, fit enough right now. Leon Bailey, definitely. Demari Gray, definitely. Ronaldo Cephas, definitely. And I think Romario Williams, he probably might actually not be a mainstay right now, but he does good work whenever he comes to play for the national team. What say you guys? I mean, we're not so sure. I counted about 7 players that I think their positions might be up for grabs right now. Sanjay Brooks, bless up yourself. Say Lembikisa not sure. Yes, I agree with that. I don't think Lembikisa is a sure pick from what I've been seeing with the coach and how the direction the coach has been going in. That might not be the case for Lembikisa at all. And isn't Bobby Reid injured? He was injured for the Unity Cup and the World Cup qualifiers, but I think he comes back into the team. I think he's coming back into the team for the Gold Cup. I think Bobby Reid, Ethan Pinnock, and who is the other one? And Mikel Antonio. Bobby Reid, Ethan Pinnock, and Mikel Antonio. They're coming back into the squad for the Gold Cup. So they will be available. But I count up to 7 players that positions could be up for grabs. So I don't know what you guys think in terms of who can come in for those players. Does Shaquan Davis make it on the plane to go to the World Cup? I mean, I don't see him getting a lot of minutes in the Gold Cup because he's third in line. But it's a good tournament for him. He pretty much did the whole Unity Cup. And the jury is out in terms of how you feel about him. So he is one, but there is Dexter Lembikisa. I think that position. Who do you think could come in for him? For Lembikisa, if things doesn't change in a favorable way for him. And also, is Greg Lee? Do you think Greg Lee is not 100% on the bus as yet either? Sanjay Brooks say Lembikisa, Casey Palmer, Coleman, Greg Lee, Dixon, Romario Williams. Those guys, okay. It all depends on how the Gold Cup goes for the team. I don't think all the JPL players are going to get cut. They will force a few in. Okay. That's fair. So I guess you don't really feel the same way about the Shaquan Davis, because he was one that I had to. Busy Atkinson. Those were the other two. Yeah, I think I feel the same way about all of those players that you put up. But what about Shaquan Davis and Busy Atkinson? Not to say I want them to not be in the squad. I'm just thinking because we haven't seen enough of them, especially more Busy Atkinson. We haven't seen a lot of him. Do you think then that a player could come in and take that position or take that role? But yes, you're right. Some of the JPL players will definitely go, and it will be good for them. It will be good. It will be good for them to go. So yeah, but that's the Gold Cup squad. That is how I feel about how the Gold Cup squad will line up with the World Cup squad for the remaining portion of the qualifying. The last round of the qualifying. So we shall see. We shall see what happens. But maybe I have to take this down because yeah, so that we can see this. So we said this is an opportunity for some players to stamp their stay in the squad. Who do you think this is more of an who do you think have the best opportunity to stamp themselves in this team right now from the Gold Cup? Okay, I'm gonna do it this way. Who do you think from this squad have the best chance of stamping themselves in this Gold Cup? You know what I mean? Warner Brown definitely is if he continues to play, I think that guy should go to the World Cup. You know what I mean? For sure. So I didn't even mention him. But of the players that are on the bubble, as you would call it, who do you think have the best chance? I don't think Greg Lee is as bad as people make him out to be, though. I actually like Greg Lee as a wingback. Me never really think me see him do too much wrong, but not everybody really feel that way. I think over time they'll fall out. But for now, I'm hearing of at least 4 players coming in for the September versus. Wow, for real? Sanjay Brooks, you care for sure any of those players? I would love to hear them because I hear a lot of rumors going around. I hope one of those players is Mason Greenwood. We don't know how we feel about that already. But yeah, I would love to know. Are you talking about the Max Aarons, Ben Johnson, Mason Greenwood, and so on? Greenwood, Baker, Rico Henry. Okay. Greenwood, Baker, and Rico Henry. Okay, cool. Yeah. But they have to look up some of them players. But Mason Greenwood, I definitely want to come. I want Mason Greenwood here, ASAP. Dijon Sterling as well. Isn't Dijon Sterling also a winger though? Is it, unless he is a CDM? I've been on somebody here about him as well. Dijon Sterling. Yeah. Oh, he's a right back. Okay. And play for Rangers. Okay. He's a right back who play for Rangers. Okay. Zin. Well, I mean, if him can come in, come shore up the wing back position, that would be good. As I said, the way Lembikisa played the wing back position the last time, I'm assuming it was from instructions from Steve McLaren, because definitely played it very differently than I say, the other wing backs play that position. He was more in the middle of the park, and as one person was explaining, it seemed like it was a deliberate ploy to pull the some of the Guatemala attacking defenders into the middle of the park, and so that it created a lot more space down that wing. So Dujan Sterling, right back from Rangers, Lewis Baker, central midfield from Stoke, and Rika, left back from Brentford. Okay. Well, if I'm guessing if Rico Henry come, that would take over Greg Lee, because Amari Bell seemed to be the main wing back there. And if Dujan Sterling come, I'm guessing that would leave out what's his name? Would leave out Lembikisa, because I think this coach would have a lot more use for Latibo there than for Lembikisa, because Latibo there can play a lot of different positions, So I'm guessing that is what would happen there. Well, you never know. I don't know what the size of the squad for the final round is. But if these players come in, man, we're looking at a pretty strong team. If these players come in, we're looking at a pretty strong team. And I mean, we definitely should be looking to get all, how much points that? 18 points and qualify for the World Cup. 18 points to qualify for the World Cup, but definitely need to do that. So yes, these players, they have them chances. Hopefully they take it. If they don't, then I guess it's going to be on to the next. So I think the players who I hope will come is Music Green, Max Aaron's, Ben Johnson. But I mean, apparently the ones that we are hearing about is Rico Henry and Louis Baker. So hopefully they can come soon. Hopefully they can definitely come soon. So I don't know if anybody heard this news, but I guess by now you probably all have heard the news about Richard King making a move to St. Mirren, which I think is really awesome for him. Like I'm guessing based on his, if you look at the last 2 years of Richard King playing, winning the JPL with Cavaliers, winning the Caribbean Cup with Cavaliers, going to the Caribbean Cup or the CONCACAF Club Championship, ended up playing against Messi inside the National Stadium to a sold out stadium crowd. I don't even think the Reggae Boys get as much. People come watch them as that game. It was a full stadium, packed stadium for come to Messi. And he looked decent, Richard King. Go on to win the JPL again, scoring one of the penalties, beating Mount Pleasant, and then going to the Unity Cup with Jamaica, and was one of the main defenders there, because neither Damian Lowe or Ethan Pinnock was there or could have made it. So that was an opportunity for him, and man, did he take that opportunity very, very, very well. Richard King. So a very good look for him, maybe a great level for him to begin his European career. And I definitely wish him all the best. And I just want to read one of just want to read the article that I saw this in, because we hear the rumors, but we like to confirm it for ourselves. So this, let's say, yeah, see it here. See it here. This is the article that talks about Richard King. It says Richard King to join St. Mirren in Stephen Robinson transfer coup. So we don't really know if the deal is over the line as yet, but it sounds like it's going to happen. And this is actually a Scottish newspaper, by the way. This is coming from the Herald Scotland. So this is not even a Jamaican newspaper. So it says Richard King will join St. Mirren in a transfer coup for Stephen Robinson. The Jamaica internationalist, 23, has chosen a move to Paisley after a nominal fee was agreed between St. Mirren and Cavalier. The player will travel to Scotland later this month to finalize paperwork before the move is made official and announced. So it's close, but it seemed like has been a verbal agreement to it, but the paperwork hasn't been finalized as well as yet. I mean, Richard King is busy with the national team now, so I can understand why that might not happen right now. And it says King, who had been linked with Rangers in the January transfer window, will play in the Scottish Premiership in his first venture in UK football. Wow. You know what I mean? Like, that's good. That's good. We have been hearing a lot about Richard King, that Elite Sports Group was no representing him, and he will be leaving Jamaica soon. We have been hearing that for the last 2 years, and finally, this looks like a actual move that's going to happen. It says the centre back, who is comfortable on the ball and offers a physical presence in defence, was snapped up by St. Mirren, with the club keen to finalise a deal after being alerted to his availability. He is also rated and tipped for a big future by Reggae Boys manager Steve McLaren. It's understood the centre back will join on an initial 2-year deal with the club, holding the option to add another year. Good, good stuff going on there for Richard King. And it says Cavalier owner Rodolph Speed was advised on a transfer deal to St. Mirren by the defender by Tony Finnegan. It's hoped the transfer will raise the profile of the largely untapped Jamaican market, with King among the first of a crop of Cavalier prospects to make a move overseas. King, who comes to replace Richard Taylor as a Mirren, blah, blah, blah. It's anticipated that King will be given a better platform to perform in the Scottish Premiership, and is excited at the prospects of proving his qualities in a new league. All right, so I think that is pretty much all I have to say about that. I think, it's really a good look for Richard King. From what I hear, there were other clubs in England that were interested in him as well, but it seemed like he chose to do the Scottish Premier League instead. And that might turn out to actually be a good idea, because English football is not easy. Even the Championship, the rough and tumble of it, it's, you know what I mean, you have a lot of international players playing in the Championship. And the scrutiny is very high. You know what I mean? The English media is brutal, and the UK media in general is brutal. I think maybe less so in Scotland than in England. So maybe this was the choice was, let's do this now, so that you get more playing time. You're on the field, you're playing more, you're getting a lot of minutes, and that will aid in your development, because you playing week in, week out will allow other clubs to see you. And I think this is kind of an investment tactic too with the club. They're pretty much investing in an unknown talent, an untapped market, and hoping that it pays dividends, so that by the time it comes around for him to be sold, they can make back a profit on him. And it sounds like the fee that they're paying for him is not too much. They're not paying a big fee for him, so that's good. You know what I mean? Good thing for Richard King. Wish him all the best, as we say, and we just hope that him go over there. I remember when Ricardo Fuller was a player at Hearts in Scotland. He played in the Scottish Premier League as well. He went over there, did well, was scoring goals for fun, But it's easier to get seen when you're an attacking player and you're scoring. It's easier to get seen like that. So I hope that King will be outstanding in his play. And who knows, we'll see if this deal goes over the line too, because I understand there are other clubs interested. So, will another club come calling with a better deal, or is this deal a done deal? It is just a matter of him going and signing the paperwork. We'll see. But we wish Richard King all the best, because he has been doing well. So, gentle folks, I want to talk about a few other things, two other items, before I get done today. And the two other items are Steve McLaren. I kind of touched on this the last time in my last stream, but Steve McLaren's improvement of the team should not necessarily go unnoticed and not, just fly under the radar. I think there's a lot of good things that have come out of Steve McLaren coaching this team right now. And he has come under a lot of scrutiny. I remember the first home game against Cuba in the National Stadium, where that ended up in a nil-all draw. A lot of people didn't like that. He won that 3-2 game in Honduras, but that was kind of just coming off the back of what's his name, Hallgrimson's team. So it was a seen as a Steve McLaren win, so to speak. And then of course, you know, so some of the games recently against the USA, you would have seen that the Copa America wasn't Steve McLaren's doing, but so far the team, in my opinion, has looked more defensively sound. Outside of the game against the US, where we got beaten 4-2, I don't think we have conceded any, big goal games. You know what I mean? So in defense, I think it's not too bad. No, in general, you see an overall more attacking style of play from Jamaica with Steve McLaren. Generally, overall, more attacking. We see more goals being scored on our part. And again, I think I brought up the statistic earlier, and I want to bring it up again because I just want to say, if you want to be, scrutinize how Jamaica has played since this coach has come on, we can look at it. Let's look at it. You know what I mean? So let me pull this up first. Remove this. All right. So let me pull this up first. Stop that. Yeah, share screen. All right, well forward. All right, see there. Make sure so you can see that. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. This, I think this was all right. So I think the Copa America this was under Hallgrimson, if I'm not mistaken. Make sure, so I'm double check that. Yeah, Hallgrimson was the coach right there. So that wasn't McLaren yet, right? That wasn't McLaren yet. So, and then I'm going back far though. 23. I'll go all the way back to 2023. Okay, so Cuba. Here's where McLaren started off. We see we have 73% possession of the ball right there. You know what I mean? Very dominant game. The only thing we never do is put the ball in the back of the net. We can't afford to do that in the World Cup qualifying, though. Definitely need to put away all our chances. Need to stop clicking these. But anyway, so I'll get lost again. Yeah, all right. So here it is. So Cuba will draw a 0-0. Honduras, Jamaica beat Honduras 2-1. For some reason, I don't know why I thought it was 3-2, but 2-1. In Honduras, by the way. So a good display. 2-0 victory against Nicaragua in Nicaragua. And Nicaragua is not an easy team to beat. Not an easy team to beat. Then this was the game we were all kind of disappointed about. I was disappointed in this because had we won this game, our Nations League quarterfinal game would have been different. It wouldn't have been the US at that time. But we drew 0-0, should have won that game. Lost 1-0 to Jamaica, to USA right here at home. Not a good feeling at all. And then we lost 4-2 to the US. So this is the only game, if you notice, we have conceded a lot, um, in a game. And that was a 4-2 loss to US. Then we played Trinidad. I think these were kind of unofficial friendlies. 1-0 would be Trinidad. Then we draw 1-1 with Trinidad. Then we drew 1-1 with St. Vincent at the Grenadines in St. Vincent. A lot of us were very upset about that. But it's tough to break down a low block team, even though, I mean, St. Vincent scored on us. It took a last minute penalty by Liam Bailey, or at the end of the game by Liam Bailey. I think that was a penalty won by Cephas, and Jamaica won that game. Then we came back to the National Stadium after all the backlash that they got, put in a good performance, beating St. Vincent 3-0. Then onto the Unity Cup, 3-2 win, Jamaica over Trinidad and Tobago. And then a 2-2 draw with Nigeria. Very good game for Jamaica here. We can't really read too much into the penalties because, anything can play when penalty go on. And, British Virgin Islands a 1-0 win. We didn't concede a lot of goals right here, or any goal at all, actually. And then a 3-0 defeat. We defeated Guatemala by 3 goals to them. So we haven't really, since this coach has come in tow, this is it. The USA Jamaica game, the 4-2 game that we played in the US, that's the worst defeat that we have had. It's the worst defeat that we have had since this coach has been on board. So we really have to congratulate Steve McLaren, and right now the team is getting better. It's trending in a better direction. Is everything fixed with the team? No, I wouldn't say that, but it's trending in a better direction. And I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but if and when we do qualify for this World Cup, we're definitely gonna have to get some much higher competition to solidify the team even more. But I definitely have to say, Steve McLaren has done an excellent job since he has taken over the team. We see an overall more attacking style of play. We see a more organized defense, or similarly as organized defense. You could say more, because, I mean, when you look at some of the results that we had before Steve McLaren under Hallgrimson, who was known as a more attacking or more defensive coach, those were horrible defeats. I don't think we would have been getting, if some of the games that we lost in the Copa America. I don't think we would have, even if we lost them, I don't think we would have lost by those margins had we have this Reggae Boys in that Copa America. So I will have to venture to say it's even a more organized defense. I would say a major effort to improve the midfield. I remember when there was a time where we were all saying, when is it that we're going to get the right midfielder? Or, we were always talking about the midfield, and it's still not fixed, but it's better though. It's definitely better. Casey Palmer, I know a lot of people don't like him, but he's playing better. We see Demari Gray, who is a ball handler, a natural ball handler. He's in the middle of the park now. We see John Russell, a player who couldn't see the light of day under the previous coach, and is now back in the team scoring goals for fun, And we see Bobby Reid, who it looks by all indications might have to sit on the bench until maybe a midfielder plays his way out of his position, or he gets too tired and the coach wants to freshen up the midfield. Then he might say Bobby Reid. But there was a time when Bobby Reid would be a sure start in the middle of the park. No, because Cephas has come in and done so well on the wing, the left wing. The coach has had to keep Demari Gray on the field, but push Demari Gray in the middle of the park in the absence of Bobby Reid, who would have played that role, the number 10 role. Push Demari Gray in the middle of the park and play him with Jonathan Russell and Isaac Hayden, and so the Bobby Reid doesn't easily come back into the team because Demara Gray is really a better ball handler than Bobby Reed. You can't take out John Russell given the way how he's been playing, and Isaac Hayden is the only CDM, true CDM we have. So those players are natural starters for the midfield with Cephas and Bailey on the wing. You know, I guess that's the natural start. So I think a major effort has been made to improve the midfield and to tweak things in a way that we have never seen it tweaked before. You know, now you say depth in the squad. I talked about that earlier, where pretty much in every position you have an even depth in the squad, a nice depth in it. Where you know, what I mean, if a player, you know, you know, obviously a player like Liam Bailey, it's hard to just replace him. But I mean, if you had to, I'm bringing Kaim Dixon. That can work as well. Or maybe what you could do is if you had to replace a winger, you could push the Gray out on the wing and bring in Bobby Ray to play the number 10 role, or vice versa. Switch out the winger with Bobby Ray, who plays wing as well. So you have depth in many different ways, and that is something that I've seen this coach has improved. And I think he has diversified the squad selection, which has paid dividends. And what do I mean by that? I think if you look at what us fans have been calling for, we've been asking for the best players, you know, and a lot of the times when we say we only want the best players to play, we really mean that we only want the overseas player. Only if you're playing in an overseas league, you should make this team. And that was the pervasive thought when Hallgrimson was here too. You know, if you're good enough, you wouldn't be in Jamaica anyway. So there's no way you can make the team. And JPL players found it very difficult to make the team. You know what I mean? Because that was the pervasive thought. This coach, whether you believe it or not, actually does believe in the JPL players. A lot of fans probably think that he's only taking orders from the JFF and there's a quota system and he has to have a certain amount of JPL players in the team because that's what the JFF wants. And that's probably true. I'm not even here to deny it and say, boy, that is not the case, because I have no evidence for or against it. You know, but the fact that you have had the emergence of a player like a Warner Brown is a clear indication that JPL players can come into the squad and make a valuable contribution to the team in a way that will make the team win and will make the team better. That's definitely a possibility. You know, that's not in question anymore. JPL players can come into the team and contribute just as much or more than players that are not JPL players, or that are than players who are playing overseas. You know what I mean? Because again, you look at a Warner Brown, you look at a Richard King. You know, I know a lot of people don't want to use Richard King, but he's a JPL player. Up until now, those players have been outstanding for Jamaica. So I think the narrative now will have to tweak or change a little bit when it comes on to the JPL players. If a JPL player is outstanding in the JPL league, it stands to reason that that player needs to be given a chance to be seen in the national team. They have to be seen, because if we took the approach, that you can't be good because you're playing in the JPL, we wouldn't discover Warner Brown. Warner Brown would not have been discovered. And Warner Brown has earned the right, in my opinion, to be the starting striker for Jamaica against Guatemala in the World Cup on Monday. He has to start. I mean, I'm just saying that from my perspective. Obviously, the coach will do what he wants. But for me, Warner Brown would have to start. You know what I mean? So, that narrative definitely has to change. I know I kind of mentioned it before, but That is what I mean by providing diversity in the squad, though. Like, he has come and made it where we cannot just look at players just based on where they play and just based on that alone. That's the sole reason for them being chosen in the squad. Yeah, you can be playing abroad and that gives you a bigger advantage, but you have to be performing too. And yes, even if you're not playing abroad, but you're performing, you can get a chance too. You know, even if you're playing in the JPL, but you're performing week in, week out, you can get a chance too. He gave Daniel Green a chance, who scored a lot of goals this season too. Um, he gave Kyle Ming a chance, which was somebody from Cavaliers who, won the Premier League title too. Give Shaquan Davis a chance. Yeah, give him a lot. Busy Atkinson have a chance. No, you know, has given a lot of players, JPL players, chances. And that is why I say, the diversity has paid off dividends for him because a new player has been discovered, and who knows, a Busy Atkinson might emerge during the World Cup. A Kyle Ming might emerge during the World Cup. So you never can tell. And then finally, as it relates to Steve McLaren, competition for places in the team. Like, no, you see, people don't feel like they can just come back into the team or walk back on the starting pitch. We saw Liam Bailey come, even though that might have been him arresting Liam Bailey, but Liam Bailey came back and didn't just start against BVI. You know what I mean? That might have been him resting Liam Bailey, but in any event, it's good that no players don't feel like they can just come back into the squad and walk into the team. You have to perform in training, and you have to, the team that has been doing well have the choice of first refusal, pretty much. So, there was a clip going around about with Liam Bailey. I don't know. Some of you probably may have seen it, but there's a clip going around with Liam Bailey talking about the vibes in the camp and all of that. And some people believe that it's he shouldn't have been saying that, and all type of things. They have a lot of stuff to say about the words he said and all of that. I mean, I personally don't feel any way about it one way or the other. That was a private moment he was having, and somebody caught it on camera and then trying maybe to use it for kind of, or somebody else see it and trying to use it for make a big deal out of it. I mean, it's not something I want to hear him say. Don't get it wrong, but it kind of is eye opening in a way from certain perspective, because he, from all accounts, was saying that the camp is lame right now. It's not like how it used to be before, where it was a whole heap of vibes and all type of thing, right? But can you make a correlation between the back in the time when it was a whole heap of vibes and the performance of the team in that era, in the vibes era, if you want to call it that, and then make a comparison to the performance of the team today, where there is no vibes in the team, according to him? That's how I look at it, at least. Like, I mean, I'm not taking offense to what he said. I mean, people say anything all the way. I mean, if you have a camera up on everybody every day of the week, like, them are gonna say something like, or them probably shouldn't say. So I'm not hold that against him. But what I am taking away from it is, what it means, the kind of insight it gives into what things used to be before today, right? And it says that back in the day when there was a whole heap of vibes in the camp, you know what I mean? We saw the performance of the team. It didn't look all that great. But today, when there's less vibes in the team, when there's probably more discipline, there's probably more of a business-like approach, you see the performance of the team now. You get me? I think that's one of the things, even, what's his name, Pochettino, was talking about. I don't know if you guys have been listening to Mauricio Pochettino with the US team, the US men's national team, because the Pulisic is not there, and a lot of big players, and they're saying, Pochettino is saying that if coming to the national team to play is you coming for to golf and to go and look for your family and pretty much to blow off some steam, then that's not the attitude that he wants to foster in the US national team, and which it is saying that it's an insight into what it used to be before. But in that case, even though that's the way it might have been before, they were winning. So nobody cares what you do when you're winning. You know what I mean? If you're winning, do whatever you want to do. Because as long as you're winning, we're good. The US was winning at the time. So even though Pochettino is criticizing that aspect of things, because they were winning back in the day, nobody paid any attention to it, or it never even came up as an issue. Today it might be an issue because you saw the results with the US against Turkey and Switzerland. They weren't getting the type of results. Well, we're people trying to find out why that might be the case. It could be because, of the approach that a lot of the senior players take when they come into the camp. And, it could, that's what he is pointing to. That's what he's alluding to. And I'm saying it's kind of the same thing with Jamaica. Maybe just maybe that lacks, free going, unbusiness-like attitude reflected itself in the performances of Jamaica. Whereas today, you don't really see that as much. You see a more attacking team, you see a more disciplined team, you see us winning a little bit more. So we appreciate Steve McLaren for the environment that he has created in the team. You know what I mean? Environment that he has created around the team. The team look to be doing a much better job now. And that is what we want to see. That is definitely what we want to see. All right, so people, as you come in, just hit the like button. Help send out the video to more eyes. Thank you for being here. And then finally, I just want to talk about one more thing. One more thing. And JFF's overall improvement in the YouTube era. When you think about the YouTube era in Jamaica football, you have to kind of ask yourself what caused the YouTube era. I think the YouTube era was started by by obviously by COVID. It started in COVID, but it came out of a leaked conversation that Damien Lowe was having with the then Gensec Dalton Wint and others. I don't remember who the other guy was, but he was having a team meeting or captain's meeting with Dalton Wint, and the audio got leaked, and people heard what the conversation was like between the Gensec and the captain of the team or the vice captain of the team, and it caused some outrage. That is really what caused people know. I mean, obviously, before that time, people like Simon Preston, they were talking about the reggae boys in general on the YouTube platform. But when that came out, it brought out a lot of other content creators around Jamaican football, and that whole discussion led to many other aspects of criticism in Jamaica's football. There were flight issues, there were payment issues, there were issues surrounding finances. JFF was in debt. There were no sponsors. There was no information coming from from JFF to the fan public. There was no fan engagement. You know what I mean? And just a host of issues that contributed to the game on the field. Remember that one time when Jamaica almost, the story was that the team wasn't going down in Suriname. They almost never took the field because of some payments that they were promised that they never get. They almost never took the field, but they still eventually went on. And a game that was supposed to be an easier game, we barely scripture. We won the game 2-1 against Suriname. But what ended up happening is that Suriname got back to Jamaica before Jamaica got to Jamaica. And that was another problem. So you can imagine having this big issue before the game and then having this big issue after the game again. So those were problematic things. that you saw happening with the JFF. But for all the criticism that the JFF has gotten over the years with the S, they have made some improvement. You know, Dalton Wint was seen as a problematic, Gensec, and they removed him and brought in Dennis Strong, and the rest is history. Everybody know I've seen the work that Dennis Strong has done um, over the time, and now he has moved on to other things. He's now running for a political position, but and a lot of people, some like it and some don't like it. But he did a great job in helping to clean up a lot of the mess in the JFF while he was GenSec. And then you also see the JFF reaching out into the YouTube community and using some of the people on YouTube to help with the improvement of the overall product, with the improvement of the overall branding of the JFF and other things. So you notice you don't hear any more flight issues. It seems like the team has a specific plane or airline to take them from their location to another location. So when they have a game, they not go all over the world in different locations to get to where they need to get to. They have a designated flight to bring them where they need to go. That's a good thing. You know what I mean? It's a minor thing or something that we can look and say, boy, them should have that lock anyway from a long time. But they didn't have it. They were criticized for it, and now it's fixed. So that's a good thing. We don't hear of any other payment issues. From the last account I hear, the GenSec, which is former GenSec, which is Dennis Chung, said that they have no outstanding payments to players. All the players are paid up for all of the monies that they were owed for years, for way back. They have all of that that's been paid up now. I think they're signing agreements with the players that they can't really talk publicly about issues that they're facing with the JFF, at least not until they at least first speak with them. And that's a good thing. I know, us as fans will want to forget the tea and all of that, but they're saying, no, the public image out there is important. So make sure that if you have a problem with anything, you come and talk to us first, and let us try and resolve it. And then if that can't get resolved there, so then you're free to do what you want to do. But at least give us that courtesy first before you go out there and start talking about it. So you don't hear of any more payment issues from the JFF. That's another good thing. You see better marketing and promotion of what's going on. There was a time when Jamaica had games coming up and people would say, "Wow, right, we never didn't know such Jamaica play. Much are going up a stadium and nobody know." That's not happening again, because you see the JFF, they're on all the platforms. So they're on Instagram, they're on YouTube, they're on Facebook. I hear that they're on Snapchat, they're on TikTok. Like everywhere where fans are possibly going to be, they are there. And in addition to that, they have physical promotion where now they're putting up signs all over the city of Kingston and other parts of Jamaica. When you have champs, any event that you have at the National Stadium, where any non-football event that you have at the National Stadium, what happens is that the market, if Jamaica has a game coming up, even if it's a month, in advance, they market it at that event, so that we're telling this crowd, we need you to come in your same numbers to the next game that Jamaica has. Good marketing. We see they hire a marketing manager. We see they as I said, they're on all the platforms. They're doing the physical marketing as well, and they're constantly looking for ways. You see the YouTube platform right now. They're doing the membership thing, which I have my criticisms about it, but I would still support them because I want to see them do well. And you see the content improving, even the whole look of it. You know what I mean? When they do press conferences now, the background look more professional. The press conferences run a little bit more smoothly because it's done in a more professional way. I like that. You know what I mean? You see the finances. The JFF are no longer in debt. To be honest with you, since 1998 up until maybe the last 2 years, the JFF has always been in debt. The JFF has always been in debt for the last, from 1998. How many years that? From 1990 years to 98, 2008, 2008, 98, 2008, 2018, 2028 would I make 30 years. This is 2025, 27 years. So the 27 years minus maybe the last 2 years, or maybe even a year. So for at least 25 years, the JFF has been in debt. And now they're no longer in debt. They have a tax compliance certificate. You know what I mean? That's significant because we don't want to always be operating at a deficit. And then all you can hear is that the JFF don't have no money and they can't do this and they can't do that. And, the same old sub story. And then those things translate on into the team. Because a healthy JFF, makes for a healthy team on the field. There's no two ways about it. A healthy JFF makes for a healthy team on the field. And us qualifying for the World Cup is going to be significant. You know what I mean? Yes, if we can win this World Cup, that would be good too. That will put a little bit more money in our pockets too. But especially the World Cup, bear in mind, when if you can go back to 98, is when Jamaica qualified for the World Cup. The money that came from that is what was used to build the JFF headquarters. They used part of the money from that to build the JFF headquarters that you see now in New Kingston, right? So us qualifying for this World Cup, which is almost 30 years later, the amount of money you'll get out of the World Cup qualification, the JFF will be a rich organization at that point. And it's clear that they do have a much better financial operation because they're hiring more people, as you can see. So you also see them securing major sponsorships. And I dare jump out on a limb to say, I bet you might see more sponsorship come on now that those World Cup, the World Cup group is out now, and it looks like Jamaica will. You know what I mean? Jamaica has a very easy path. Pretty much the easiest path that they have ever had in history to qualify for the World Cup is right now. They're in a group that all they have to do is top the group, and they are ranked higher, significantly higher than most are all of those teams. What is the highest ranked? Let's look at CONCACAF rankings. CONCACAF rankings. CONCACAF India rankings. All right, yeah. Let's look at the CONCACAF rankings, right? The CONCACAF rankings of the men's national team, right? Jamaica is ranked number 6 in CONCACAF. Trinidad and Tobago is ranked number 10. That's the next. And Curacao is ranked number 15. So let's just use those two and look at their FIFA ranking. Jamaica's FIFA ranking as of now is 60 something, right? I think it's like 62 or something like that. Who does men's FIFA ranking? Let's look on that. Jamaica is ranked 63rd in the world now, right? Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago men's FIFA rankings. Trinidad and Tobago is ranked 100th in the world. And let me just, out of curiosity, check out Curacao, no pun intended. Curaçao's men's FIFA rankings is 90th. So Curacao is actually ranked higher than Trinidad. And then just, I mean, I don't think this matter, but let's just do it nonetheless. Let's just check out Bermuda. All right. So Bermuda is ranked 168th in the world. Are you kidding me? 168 in the world. So Jamaica, ranked 63rd in the world, is in a group with where sorry, the next best team is ranked 90th in the world, and then the next best team after that is ranked 100th in the world, and then the other team is ranked 163rd in the world. Right? That's a group that Jamaica is in. So this is the best opportunity for Jamaica to qualify for the World Cup in its history. In its history. So I think that we definitely have to take advantage of this opportunity. We have to make sure that every game that we play, we go for the win. We try and get all 18 points, for win, for win outright, and not even think about playing with coming second and doing the whole confit thing. We definitely don't want that. We want to qualify outright and early, so that when we can put our minds at ease and go forward with it. So yeah, people, what say you? What are your thoughts on the FIFA rank on the World Cup draw? From all indications, everybody seem happy. I know I know some people thought, we would get a harder group. It never even occurred to me that we could get a group considered this easy. But it's only easy on paper. We have to actually go and do the work and grind out the wins and yeah, and take it there. So yeah, people. That's pretty much all I want to talk about today. Still, I look forward to Monday and seeing what Jamaica has to offer at the Gold Cup. We start out with Guatemala. Wants us to put in a dominant display like how we did the last time against Guatemala, and just stamp our class on the tournament early, because we're going to need it. We're going to need to show our class. We need to. I really want us to win that group start. We really want us to win the group, because if we win the group, we pretty much we're definitely going to. We should go to the semifinals. If we win that group, we should go to the semifinal, because we're on a collision course with the Canada group, and I'm pretty sure Canada is going to win that group. So yes, people, I've come to the end of my live today. Thank you for all of those of you who engaged and brought your thoughts and everything. Notice I'm not really see no more engagement after, but we appreciate it nonetheless. And yeah, we hope that you have a good evening, that you take care of yourself, and until next time, take care of yourself, walk good. I'm Jamaican Youth. Please smash the like button on your way out, and thank you. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Peace out, everyone.